We want to continue this conversation now with our panel. Carl, you were the Deputy Chief of Staff at the White House under George W. Bush. Are those agency heads correct that basically no matter how much these folks mess up in what they're doing, that you have to go through a long, arduous civil service process?
I think that's right. You can revoke their clearances and send them to Siberia, but to actually fire them, it's difficult. And what we learned here in this particular instance is that apparently it's not just the rain or snow nor sleet nor hail that could keep a self-appointed mailman from his appointed rounds. Apparently neither the Capitol Police could. We're focused on the Secret Service, but it's the Capitol Police who have principal responsibility for the area around the Capitol. So I hope there's a top-to-bottom, behind-the-scenes review of all of these procedures. This guy got in a gyrocopter in Gettysburg, flew under the radar all the way to the Washington, and came. What if he had, rather than petitions to Congress, had a bomb? And I hope they look at these procedures. Let me say one quick thing about Clancy. I agree with the commission that they should have brought somebody in from the outside. That was not President Obama's decision. But Joseph Clancy is a first-rate individual who, if anybody from within the Secret Service can turn it around, he can turn it around, but he needs to have the time and the tools to do so.
We ask you for questions for the panel, and we got this on Facebook from Michael Pander, who writes, why do these people have their jobs when they are not doing their job? They should be fired if they cannot do their job. Juan, how do you answer Michael?
Well, if people can't do their job, they do have to be fired. I don't think there's any question about that, so that's self-evident. But Michael, I would say to you that we need less emphasis on the hysteria and the fear and the firings, and more emphasis on the idea that we are an open democratic society. Pennsylvania Avenue's closed off for people who live here know this is a trap.
Are you saying the guy in the gyrocopter should be able to?
No, we have to focus, Chris, on closing gaps for these low-flying aircraft and the drone that landed on the White House lawn.
Right.
So we have to address that, but we can do that sensibly. But this idea that we should be more militaristic, Senator Graham this week said we should have shot down this mail carrier. Goodness gracious, if he'd been a black Muslim, maybe we would have. But I don't think there's any need to shoot down these people.
But they shot that woman who drove her car,
yes.
and who led police on a chase. So that's happened. I mean, and so it's very serious. And what struck me about this, how you saw officials joking about this guy and flying his copter onto the lawn. It's not funny. This is serious. And the lack of, I think that's where the complacency comes in when you see someone like Secretary Johnson kind of laughing about this in retrospect. And that shocked me.
There's a pattern here. It's a pattern of management failure. Secret Service, DEA, Veterans Administration, Department of HHS trying to get that healthcare website up and running. Across this sprawling Leviathan bureaucracy, we're seeing this pattern of repeated management failure. And that's the larger picture here that I think needs to be looked at. Is this government is not well managed, it's not well and efficiently run, and it needs to be. We need better people, but above all, we need leadership and better management.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying that we don't need to be the Kremlin here. We have so many police forces. You heard what Congressman Chafin said. I think he said there are 32 agencies in charge of this.
Yeah, and the District of Columbia Police are pretty good on enforcing the parking.
But wait a minute, I'm a little surprised, Juan. When he was in the air,
yes.
we didn't know what he was carrying with him. He could have been carrying a bomb. He could have been carrying a chemical agent. So to sit there and say, well, we shouldn't have shot him down, but you didn't know what he was carrying.
No, but I don't think that we need to be extreme and hysterical and say, oh, start shooting anything. We need to close that gap and make sure that...
I would.
Yeah, I wouldn't shoot him.
You wouldn't shoot anybody. A vehicle's coming down the mall. You don't know who it is. He's headed toward the Capitol.
We don't know what they have.
Should you shoot it down or not?
No, I said no.
No matter what?
Not no matter what. If I know that this is a direct threat. By the way, they should have known what was happening. If there's incompetence that you're talking about, mismanagement,
I agree with that.
was that they interviewed this guy. Apparently, the Tampa Times knew he was coming and told them 2 hours before. That's the incompetence. But start shooting everybody and throwing up fences and steel tips around the White House.
Not everybody flies down the mall in a gyrocopter toward the Capitol.
I'm with Lindsey Graham on this one.
Shoot him down.
And now that he wasn't shot down, throw the book at him. But that's not going to dissuade a terrorist. What's going to dissuade a terrorist is the idea if they violate the no-fly standards in Washington, that down they go.
You know what amazed me?
And then we try and force them down.
Was that they let the guy out of jail so quickly. I thought for sure he would stay in jail.
Well, you're the one who's talking about the Kremlin. You know, we do have habeas corpus here, and we do have bail. Thank you, panel. See you next week.